Yamunatira vanachare Yamunatira vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira vanachare Yamunatira vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira vanachare Yamunatira vanachare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Guru Dev Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Guru Dev. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Pravajagacharya Stota Srimad Bhagavatam Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. East Founder Acharya His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Primjika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Radha Kun Shama Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Yamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Sankirtan Yaga Ki Jai, Vrihad Mridanga Ki Jai, Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vishabhanu Sute Deve Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karoti vachalam pangum langayate kirim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishvaram. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to today's ecstatic study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are going to read Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 13, entitled Dhṛtarāṣṭra Quits Home, Shloka number 22. Please repeat after me. Anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto manda-agniḥ sa-rāgaḥ kapham udvahan anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto mandāgniḥ sarāgaḥ kapham udvahan anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto mandāgniḥ sarāgaḥ kapham udvahan. Lead, please. Anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto mandāgniḥ sarāgaḥ kapham udvahan. Anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto mandāgniḥ sarāgaḥ kapham udvahan. Anta puraiva vadhiro manda-prajñāś sāmpratam viśīrṇa-danto mandāgniḥ sarāgaḥ kapham udvahan. Vaishnavi? Okay, then we start word for word. Andhaḥ, blind. Purā, from the beginning. Eva, certainly. Vadhiraḥ, hard of hearing. Manda-prajñāḥ, memory shortened. Cha, and. Sāmpratam, recently. Viśīrṇa, loosened. Dantaḥ, teeth. Manda-agniḥ, liver action decreased. Sārāgaḥ, with sound. Kapham, coughing much mucus. Udvahan, coming out. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. You have been blind from your very birth, and recently you have become hard of hearing. Your memory is shortened, and your intelligence is disturbed. Your teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The symptoms of old age, which had already developed in Dhṛtarāṣṭra, were all one after another pointed out to him, as warning that death was nearing very quickly, and still he was foolishly carefree about his future. The signs pointed out by Vidura in the body of Dhṛtarāṣṭra were signs of apakṣaya, or dwindling of the material body, before the last stroke of death. The body is born, it develops, stays, creates other bodies, dwindles, and then vanishes. But foolish men want to make a permanent settlement of the perishable body and think that their estate, children, society, country, etc., will give them protection. With such foolish ideas, they become overtaken by such contemporary engagements and forget altogether they must give up this temporary body and take a new one, again to arrange for another term of society, friendship, and love, again to perish ultimately. They forget their permanent identity and become foolishly active for impermanent occupations, forgetting altogether their prime duty. Saints and sages like Vidura approach such foolish men to awaken them to the real situation. But they take such sadhus and saints as parasites of society, and almost all of them refuse to hear the words of such sadhus and saints. Although they welcome show-bottle sadhus and so-called saints who can satisfy their senses, Vidura was not a sadhu to satisfy the ill-gotten sentiment of Dhṛtarāṣṭra. He was correctly pointing out the real situation of life and how one can save oneself from such catastrophes. Hare Krishna. Actually, this is not the first time Dhṛtarāṣṭra was warned. This is after the Kurukshetra war. Before the Kurukshetra war, one time, Lord Shri Krishna, he sent Akura to visit Hastinapur. And at that time, Akura stayed in Hastinapur for a few months to scrutinizingly study the political situation there, and especially to give good advice to Dhṛtarāṣṭra. And after a few months of staying, and after learning all the situations from Vidura and Kunti Maharani, so Akura, he advised Dhṛtarāṣṭra he should not become so partial. He should treat Pandavas, the 5 brothers, not in that inimical way. But however, at that time, what Dhṛtarāṣṭra said, he admit Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, he cannot control himself to be partial towards his own sons. And he openly told Akura, he said, I know you are very charitable in giving you very good advices, but I just can't help. I understand Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he appeared to remove the unnecessary burden from the earth. And he knew all his sons are unnecessary burden of the earth, so he can expect the death of his own sons. But at that time, he cannot control because of this family affection, until he lost everything. After the Kurukshetra, he lost all his sons. He lost all the sons of his sons, grandsons. He lost all his well-wishers, all his friends, and shamelessly living under the mercy of the ones he wants to kill them. So at this time, Vidura came. Vidura is especially very affectionate to his elder brother Dhṛtarāṣṭra. He wants to wake him up. It's time for you to wake up. You see, your teeth becomes loose, and you are coughing so much mucus, and all your senses become weak, and so many deteriorating signs. So this is a waking up call. This is a kind of ignorance. In the 7th canto, Prahlāda Maharaj, he's telling his own father, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, Tasadu manye suravarya dehinam sada samudvignadiyam asatgrihat hitvatmakritam grihamanta kupam vanam gatoya tarimashrayeta. He told his father, you should go to Vrindavan. You should go to that place where Krishna consciousness is prevalent. You should practice this Krishna consciousness. Because as long as one has accepted this temporary body, then he must be embarrassed by all kinds of miseries related to this body. And he told he told his father, he told his classmates, all these materialistically inclined people, what they're doing. Antayatantaru pani yamanas. Tepi sham tantrayam urudham nibhara. Actually, they are like blind people, led by another blind person. And the result is they must fall down into the ditch and continuously, repeatedly suffer the threefold burning miseries of this material life. But they are not carrying this. Like here, Srila Prabhupada said, carefree. They are thinking they can live forever. They think maybe by little adjustment, they can continue their material comforts. And Prahlad Maharaj pointed out, what they are doing is adantagopi visha tam isram. They are rushing towards the hellish planets. And punah charvita charvananam. They are chewing something already had been chewed. The sense gratification, the taste is the same, but they are not waking up. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, we find similar stories. Like in the story that Krishna is subduing Kaliya. Kaliya, he has thousands of hooves, and he's very proud of his own prowess. And among those hooves, 101 is very prominent. So when Krishna, although his lotus feet is as soft as butter, but when he's dancing on the slippery hooves of Kaliya, his lotus feet is like thunderbolt. And he struck Kaliya's head, which head is not surrendering to Krishna. Then Krishna would put his feet on that hood on the head of the Kaliya and press him down. And therefore, by Krishna's pressure, Kaliya, ghastly vomiting blood, a lot of blood coming from his mouth, coming from his nostrils, and he's feeling severe pain and agony. Only under such condition, he realized, oh, I'm going to die. I always thinking Garuda is my arch rival, but this one, although looked like an ordinary cowherd boy, he is 1,000 times more powerful than my arch rival Garuda. And this is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only under such desperate situation. So Kaliya, he resumed his remembrance. Smrtva. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is mentioned, Smrtva, that time he remembered, char achar, all the moving and non-moving living beings. Gurum, he understand that everything, everyone in this universe, moving and non-moving living beings, Krishna is the guru for everyone. And Purusham, he's the personality of Godhead. Puranam, he is the ancient one. So he realized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, from time immemorial, he's the master of everyone. Then he changed because he realized Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridham Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. Now he surrenders. He realized who is the master, who is the servant. Sometimes in our own life, we also need that kind of kick by Krishna. So, my dear devotees, I'm going to share my personal experience in the past few days. Very, very dramatic. Just 3 days ago on Tuesday, my only sister, my younger sister, she sent me messages. Actually, we rarely talk with each other because we stay in different countries when we have different beliefs. And she suddenly sent me a message saying, I want to talk with you about my disease. I was taken aback. Disease? I don't know, you're sick. She said, I was diagnosed with a disease, so that is her privacy. I keep that part private. She said, doctor told me I can have 50% of chance of living. And within 2 weeks, I'm going to have operation. And even after the operation, even if the operation is successful, at most, I can live for another 5 years. So that also gives me a shock. Starting from now, I also have to plan. My life is going to change. My parents' life is going to change. Her life is going to change because she's a single mother and she has a son. And she said, I may not be able to see my son graduate from high school. Then I was thinking, I adopt her son. I was discussing with my family members how to do the whole plan. And this whole thing changed everything. I saw my mother staying with me in Mayapur. On Wednesday, I think I'd better tell her, because her daughter may be going to die very soon, better make her prepared. And then immediately I saw she was hunchbacked. She was doing Tulasi Parikrama before very vigorously, but now she became hunchbacked. And yesterday I saw my mother. She was knitting a chadar for TUVP Srila Prabhupada. She has no strength to sit on her seat to knit, and she was lying on her bed knitting that chadar. So I saw her face immediately, overnight, like 10 years older. What to do? Everyone has to prepare for death. Death won't release anyone. You can't run away. Actually, in Krishna book, in the story about how Akura is visiting Dhṛtarāṣṭra, in that very story, Srila Prabhupada gave one comment, a striking sentence. It says, each one of us individually, we have our own karma. And due to our own karma, then we have different destiny. And we cannot improve our destiny by cooperatively living together. I will repeat. This is very important. Each one of us, we have our individual karma. This is due to our past deeds. And this individual karma creates our future destiny. And we cannot improve our destiny by what? By cooperatively living together. Even if we don't want to be separated from our dear and near ones, still we're by force separated from them. We have to suffer the loss. So for the past 3 days, death came real. Now really for me, I told myself I have to become very serious. I have to read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahma Samhita, everything, all the scriptures. Everything is real because we have to face this. And one day, maybe very soon, who knows? Maybe I am also going to face death even before I bring up my sister's son in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Brahma Vimoha Lila. After Brahma, he realized his mistake. He wants to use his own Maya to bewilder his Lord Krishna. After that, he's offering his heartfelt prayers. And what did he say? He said, Samashrita ye pada palva plavam, Mahatpadam pumnya yasho murari, Pavam put here, Vatsam padam param padam, Padam padam yadve padam natesham. This material world is not like Vaikuntha. Every step there is a danger. What shall we do? We have to be always alert. And whatever happens in our life, we accept it as a mercy of Krishna. Because in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also mentioned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He's constantly talking with everyone, to each living entity. In which way? By His representative as time. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking him, who are you? Kala asks me, I am time. I am all-devouring time. So this time, constantly talking with each and every individual living entity. By what? By birth, by old age, by disease, by death. But we are so dull. We are not realizing these are all the signals coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we are still thinking we can enjoy. That is not possible. What is the right attitude? Brahma, when he realized his insignificant position, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam, there's a nice analogy. He said, he saw all the Vishnu manifestations. He saw all the cowherd boys, all the calves, actually are the Supreme Lord Himself. So he feels like he's a rabbit among the elephants. He's not even like a rabbit. A few days ago, 2 days ago, yes, in Vrindavan, when Bhakti Ashraya Vaishnava Maharaj is giving comments on that words, he said, he's not even like a rabbit. Maybe we can compare him like a mosquito among the elephants. Then he mentioned, Tatenu kapham shushamikshamanom, pumjan evatma kritam vipakam, ritvagva bhupirvitadhan namaste, jiveta yo mukti pade sadhayabak. This is our attitude. Whatever happened, we should continue our service. We should use our mind, our body, our words to continue to offer obeisances to Lord Sri Krishna, to worship Him. Then liberation, deliverance becomes our right. So now coming back to my own family story. Last night I took my sister's permission to share her story with the devotees because I'm feeling inspired. So I feel the devotees can also feel inspired. Because last night, 9 o'clock, she got another test result. That is result before her operation. You know what the doctor told her? The doctor told her, "You are completely all right. There's nothing wrong with you. If you like, I can prescribe some antibiotics." And the doctor especially told her, the prescription, I told you you should do this therapy, that therapy, radiation, chemo, and operation, the long list, the paper. Now you can completely tear it up. Then my sister, she told me she had 2 realizations. Realization number 1, she feels this is another chance, another life given by Krishna. For the past 20 years, I was trying to tell her Krishna is real. And I tried to convince her to become a devotee. For 20 years, what I cannot do, Krishna did in 3 days. And she told me, she said, now 2 realizations. Number 1, I realized I have to thank Krishna. Everything I do, I want to thank Krishna. Now I can open the curtain. Now I can drink some water. I can do something. I can see my son is growing. So she's very grateful to Krishna now. And then the second realization, she said, I realized I should live according to Krishna's desire. How Krishna wants me to think, how Krishna wants me to talk, how Krishna wants me to act. When I heard this from my own sister, I was completely shocked. Isn't this Krishna showing me Bhagavad Gita? Yat karoshi yat asnashi yat juhusi dadasi yat tapasyasi kunteya tat kurusva madarpanam. Even I am sometimes busy with my seva. I forgot to live according to how Krishna wants me to live, how Krishna wants me to think, how Krishna wants me to talk, how Krishna wants me to act. But now, by my sister's mouth, Krishna is telling me, I should think how Krishna wants to live my life. So she said she was determined, she wants to become a vegetarian. And she would be committed to chanting Hare Krishna, and she would see how Krishna is revealing everything to her. So the path of devotional service starts. Isn't that wonderful? And I only want to thank Krishna because whatever she said reminds me in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma, he mentioned Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena samta sadaiva hridayeshu vilochanena. What is next? Yam sama sundaramachintya guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhanjami. Although when I'm doing my Shalagram Archan, I chanted this verse, but then I forgot. I should always see from the spectacles of the point of view of Lord Krishna. And now my sister is reminding me, how should we live? How should we see the whole world from Krishna's point of view? And I really thank Krishna. It's a wonderful manifestation. And I would share another little story of my mother, because I think in my whole life the most wonderful thing happened is 11 years ago, my mother was diagnosed by cancer. And she's going to die. And at that time, she starts to chant Hare Krishna. Before that, for 13 years, we have no contact. that's another story. Maybe another time I can share with you. But the thing is, we can see how Krishna is taking care of us, especially for the devotees. He gives us warning, and he also takes care of us personally. So I'm going to share with all of you how Krishna is taking care of my mother. So starting from 11 years ago, when she was diagnosed with cancer, she started to chant Hare Krishna. She was chanting like 32 rounds. And then she did operation, and she was cured. And after that, she's like chanting, but not so much have the desire of getting initiation, because she has to take care of my father and so many other things. She cannot commit herself into Krishna consciousness completely. But then in 2016, one day I was taking Bhakti Vaibhava course. During the break, I was checking my messages. I got a message from my mother, because the previous day my mother told me, oh, this is the first time she's going to fly alone, an international flight, to visit my sister. And she said, you are near to Krishna, please do one puja for me. So I did one Nrsimha puja. I offered some fruits, incense, lamp. And then I saw my mother send me such an incredible long message. She said, everything went wrong from the beginning of my trip. There's a car broken on the way to the airport, and then arriving the airport very short time. But they said her luggage is overweight. She has to take out so many things. And then they said that the suitcase is not according to the standard size. She has to buy a suitcase. And a few years back, it's very difficult. Everything went wrong. And she said, going through the custom, a lot of problems. And then finally on the airplane, she found out she lost her passport. And when it's time to land, because of the long flight and she's very weak, she completely lost her eyesight. When I was seeing the messages she sent to me, I was prospering. I thought, now finished. She's going to never believe me. Maybe she would completely stop chanting Hare Krishna. She would never believe me. She would never have any faith to Krishna. But at the end, after this very long message, what I read, one single sentence, she said, I'm very grateful unto you because you did a puja for me. Otherwise, maybe I'm going to lose my life. I feel, who gave her this inspiration, my dear Lord Krishna? I thank you. I offer my koti dandavat pranams to my Lord. And now this year, last year he came to visit me. Because of lockdown, she was stuck in Mayapur. And this year, just before Gaura Purnima, she got initiation from His Holiness, Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So this is how Krishna is taking care of every one of us. And if we are sincere, we can follow Krishna's instructions and see how Krishna is manifesting everything in our life, step by step. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially in the Madhya Leela, starting from like 20, 21, 22, 23, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's giving valuable instructions to Sanatana Goswami about the step-by-step description of devotional service from sadhana bhakti, and then gradually you come to prema bhakti. And especially at the end of chapter 22, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he told everything about the process of devotional service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he put his hand on Sanatana Goswami's head. For what purpose? To empower him to understand everything correctly, and to empower him to write everything, to elaborate for us and write everything in his book for the benefit of us, the conditioned souls. And then we can know how step by step we can approach the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Because now we are still in the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, we can feel the same ecstasy of Srimad Bhagavatam first canto and the 10th canto, especially the last chapter translated and commented by Srila Prabhupada. That is same ecstasy, because right in the beginning, even in 1967, if we read Srila Prabhupada's quotes, we can feel as if he was talking like in 1977. He was talking about everyone's going to die and how we should value the time. And especially in 1977, when he was translating the last few verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, the last few verses of chapter 13, the message he's giving to us is to remind us, don't stay in this rotten material world. We should go back. We should join Krishna's blissful pastimes in Vrindavan, in Goloka Vrindavan. And in that chapter, he told us how actually in Vrindavan, in one corner, there's no temple, but there's one pure devotee. He has a desire there should be a temple. And then, simply by the devotee's desire, Krishna Balaram temple appeared. And I still remember last year, our beloved Pankajanga Prabhu, he was commenting on the same verse. He also said, Prabhupada is mentioning himself in the purport. Although he didn't directly mention his own name, he simply said, a devotee of Krishna. He wants a temple to be there in Vrindavan, in one corner, in a place before nobody is going there. And now the whole world is coming to Vrindavan because of him. And Srila Pankajanga Prabhu has a very valuable instruction to all of us. When in 2002, when the first time I came to Mayapur, and when in 2004 I started to take Bhakti Sastri course, in numerous occasions Pankajanga Prabhu would say, please think one question. What if today is your last day? He started to think about that question from Mangal Arti time. He said, what if today is your last day? If today is the last day of our life, we don't know, maybe suddenly we're going out, we were caught by the variants of COVID-19. We have to leave body. Maybe there's a car accident. Who knows what's going to happen? One devotee, he gave Bhagavatam class, and after that he left his body. So many things happened, unpredictable. We have to expect the imminent death. Everyone's waiting a line. As soon as we were taking birth, we were waiting a line to go into the door of death. But how we go into that door? How we should prepare our consciousness? We know recently our beloved Rajendranandan Prabhu, he left his body. And before he left his body, he had a discussion with Jananivas Prabhu. They were talking about what kind of form he's going to take. So Jananivas Prabhu also suggested him to meditate. And he paused a little bit. He was meditating. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 13, that chapter is describing how Brahma, he's stealing all Krishna's cowherd boyfriends and calves. And in verse 51, and in the purport, Brahma, that time, he saw how Krishna is manifesting everything, and he saw how everyone, from the biggest living entity to the lowest living entity in all kinds of forms, even the vegetables, even the trees, everyone, all the char and achar, every living entity is worshipping Krishna in his four-handed form. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada very beautifully mentioned, our form is actually decided by the way of our worship. But if we don't care about devotional service, then our form is decided by the demigods. It's decided by our past deeds, decided by our destiny. We were controlled by the stringent law of material nature. But if we are a devotee, what kind of form we are going to develop, that is decided by our worship. And Srila Prabhupada gives a very beautiful analogy in that purport. At the end of the purport, he said, just like a flower would gradually fructify, blossom, and achieve its desired aroma and beauty. And actually, our constitutional position is the eternal servant of Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we reach the level of Krishna consciousness, we start to perform devotional service to Krishna. Starting from that point, when we get the seed of devotional service from a devotee of Lord, from that time we start our devotional service. We start to cultivate our form, and slowly, gradually, step by step, one day we are going to achieve the complete absorption in that loving devotional service to Sri Krishna. Up to that time, and then we fructify. We also become like a flower in full blossom. That time we show our complete ultimate satisfaction and beauty. Don't we want to achieve that state of life? Then we have to prepare from now. Don't wait until we cannot move. Don't wait we cannot think properly. Maybe some of us are still young. We're not feeling, oh, I have wrinkles on my face, my hair is still black or brown or not becoming white. My teeth is very strong. Even 10 o'clock I can digest pizza or the evening offerings, and next day I can still wake up. But that is our ignorance. Because if we feel, I don't have much to fear, my life is okay, that is a proof we're in Maya. Because all the great Mahajans, what they are afraid of, they are afraid of ordinary people. They're not afraid like natural disasters or some ill fate, adversities in life. No, they are afraid of the ordinary people. Because by associating with ordinary persons, we would be dragged into repeated birth and death. Therefore, from now, like Vidura is reminding Dhṛtarāṣṭra, now you have to prepare. Your memory is shortened, your intelligence is disturbed, teeth are loose, your liver is defective, and you are coughing up mucus. We don't wait until we are forced to do the tapasya. We don't wait until we were forced to take shelter of Krishna. Because there's another very beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada I would like to share with everyone in 10th canto, chapter 8. In that chapter, Krishna showed his universal form to Mother Yashoda. And Mother Yashoda feeling completely confused. What is this? Is it illusion? I'm haunted or something? And then what she decided in chapter 8, verse 41, she decided she would simply surrender to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and she would pay her obeisances. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, we should learn the example of Mother Yashoda. When something happened in her life, and that is like very disturbing us, if something beset us, but we cannot find the cause, at that time what we should do? We should simply surrender ourselves to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offer our respectful obeisances to Him. Then our position would be secure. This is actually very deep purport. What shall we do when we're beset by some problem, which we could not find the reason, the cause? We should understand. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna is the cause of all causes. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, there are 4 shloki, seed verses. In the first shloka, Krishna said 3 times, Aham, Aham, Aham. He exists before the creation. During the creation, He maintains everything. And after the creation, He alone exists. We should understand He is the Sarva Karana Karanam. He is that cause of all causes. And we understand this. And when we find something happen to our life, and which may be causing us a lot of distress, pain, agony, what shall we do? It's very simple. We surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is also the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadam parityaja, mamekam sharanam vraja, aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasami masucha. We simply surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offer our respectful obeisances unto Him. And then what happened? our position is secured. Otherwise, Prahlāda Maharaj, when he's offering his heartfelt prayers to Lord Nrsimhadev, what he said, Bala saneha sharanam pitaro nisingha nartasa chagadamudam vantimaja tono taptasa tapratividhirya ihanja shishtas tavad vibhutanabritam tvatupekshitanam. Even the best doctors, the best medicine cannot relieve a patient's pain. Even the parents cannot protect a child. Even a boat in the ocean cannot save a drowning man. What can they do? If Krishna wants to kill someone, nobody can save him. If Krishna wants to save one, nobody can kill him. That is our attitude, to surrender. Then our position becomes very secure. Because we see this from the previous acharyas, we see this from our life. I mean, I just shared my own life story with all of you. So I hope that would give all of you some inspiration, some insight into the reality of our life. And then we need some mercy from a devotee. Because actually now something wonderful is happening. Although on this material platform, everything seems horrible. If we see the news, this accident, that accident, how many people died because of virus. But on another level, on the spiritual level, something wonderful is happening. Krishna is playing with the cowherd boys, gopis, his parents, in Vrindavan. Idam satam brahma sukhanubhutya dasam gathanam paradaivatena maya shritanam naradarakena sakam vidyakruhu kritapamnya pamdaha. So the cowherd boys, in this way, they are playing with Krishna. He is the source of the Brahman effulgence for those who desire to merge into that effulgence. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead for devotees who have already taken eternal servitorship, and who, for ordinary persons, is but another ordinary child. But after accumulating pious results of like punya, all those pious activities, life after life, for so many lifetimes, all those cowherd boys, they were able to associate in this way with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can one explain their good fortune? In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami also comments on this verse, this punya, the pious activities. And when he mentioned this, and then again Srila Jiva Goswamis add a comment to that, they especially mention this punya. This kind of pious activities is not ordinary pious activities. That is a glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how we are fortunate. We are in this direct, bona fide disciplic succession coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, coming from Lord Brahma, coming from Lord Shri Krishna. We're in this bona fide disciplic succession, and we got this opportunity to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami, he told Parikshita Maharaj. Parikshita Maharaj, he told Shukadeva Goswami, Nivirtatar rupagiya manat, bhavoshadat chotra manobi ramat, ka utama shloka gunanuvadat, puman virajeta vina pashugnat. Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be performed in the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from spiritual master to disciple. And the glorification of the Lord is relished by those no longer interested in the temporary false glorification of this cosmic manifestation. And the descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul, undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who would cease hearing such glorification except for a butcher or one who is trying to kill his own self? And how fortunate we are. Until the last breath, Srila Prabhupada, he's so skinny, he has no muscle. He has only skin and bones. And the Kaviraj, he said, any other person would scream in pain under such condition. But he continued to translate and comment the Srimad Bhagavatam purport for all of us, for our benefit. Therefore, we should take the benefit. We should take advantage of all this beautiful Bhaktivedanta purport. When we take advantage of this beautiful purport, in the association of the devotees, we can change. We can change our destiny. Before we mentioned we can't change our destiny by cooperatively living together. That is with ordinary people. And by living with them cooperatively, maybe even we become more degraded by their association. But with the devotees of Krishna, it's different. Our samskars can be changed, because by this association with the devotees, we can form new habit. And when we have new habit, the new habit becomes the second nature. In this way, we can change our samskars, and we change our destiny. Then we can go back to Godhead to enjoy that spiritual life. So, even before that, if we take advantage of Srila Prabhupada's beautiful purport, and if we accept the vast intelligence of Srimad Bhagavatam presented by our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, we can see in the TV of our hearts what is going on in the spiritual world. Right now, our TV in the heart is broken. We need three things to fix it. We need Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And ultimately everything based on the revelation of the Shastra. So this is our treasure. Vidura, he came. Only by his visit, Dhṛtarāṣṭra, he was awakened. So we get the devotees' mercy, and we should not neglect them. Therefore, let us cooperatively, together, not missing one day of studying and relishing the wonderful purport of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your patience. Any comments, corrections, and questions? Yes, Prabhuji.
So why material, we know that material body is the problem, the only problem, made of 8 factors, Prithvi, Jal, Akash, Vayu, Agni, and Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. So how to get from material body, transform material body to spiritual body, Satchit Ananda. So how to get that? And my first query was, it is very, why so much difficulties and challenges to remember Krishna at the time of death? So please explain, Mataji. Thank you so much for your inspiring class.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for inspiring questions. We can say to the first question, yes and no. Because for some, may be very difficult. For some, maybe not so difficult. It depends on our level of consciousness. A few years back, I was in Bombay, Bhaktivedanta Hospital. I was discussing with the palliative care doctors there. So they told me, at the time of death, what kind of pain you're experiencing. Like 300,000 scorpions at the same time sting you. You can imagine. And in this material world, some people say that the delivery pain of a woman, that is like the most painful thing. But then, at the time of death, it's like 300,000 scorpions. They sting you at the same time. And how much pain you are going to have, because you're used to stay in this body. This body is like your house. Suppose you're living Mayapur very nicely, and suddenly the landowner said, Gurpranim is coming, I need to rent it out to someone else. Please move. You don't want to move. He has to force you. He throw your clothes out, maybe. So that time, all the glands give us a lot of pressure, and we have a lot of mucus. And first of all, we become blind. And there are so many things happening to us. Because we don't want to go, so we are forced to go. We can just imagine how much pain we're going to have when we cut off like a little finger. Then we can think how much difficulty is there. But for devotee, it is not so difficult. I can give you like right now 2 examples. One is from Srila Prabhupada. Although in Srila Prabhupada's situation, the Kaviraj mentioned anyone else would scream in pain, but Srila Prabhupada is not feeling any pain. And also for Rajendranandan Prabhu, he had one kind of like a bone cancer, a 4th stage. But his wife Chatura Mataji mentioned it's a miracle. He's not feeling any pain. He's not feeling any pain. Because his consciousness is completely concentrated on the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. And I saw in my own life, there's a devotee, his name is Jambavan, in China. He left his body due to a very painful cancer. And he said, he decided, he has a lot of anarthas in his heart, so whenever the pain comes, he thought it's Lord Nrsimhadev trying to take out all the anarthas from his heart. So when the pain comes, he's loudly calling out, Lord Nrsimhadev, he's praying, please make it more painful, but as long as you render me fit to go to your lotus feet, then I will be happy. So we have to prepare in 2 ways. Number 1, we have to expect there is so much pain waiting for us, and therefore we have to prepare much, much more in advance. How we prepare? We prepare by our daily sadhana, by cultivating our consciousness. Then at the time of death, we can understand the pain is pain, that is our body, but our consciousness is on another level. Like Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he said, at the same time I'm feeling so much pain on my body, but I'm feeling spiritually, I am so happy, blissful. So that is a vivid example. We follow these great souls, then at the time of death, we must get mercy by our previous acharyas, by our guru, by Srila Prabhupada, and by Krishna. We can easily cross it over. Vatsapadam becomes the whole material misery. This vast ocean becomes like a hoof print, in the calf's hoof print. Actually, when I was studying this verse, I downloaded more than 200 pictures of calf's hoof print. I noticed something very wonderful. Before, I thought calf's hoof print means like a very small puddle of water, but even not that. The hoof print of a calf is just a few single thin line, because the hoof print is like a heart. It's not like completely hollow. So that is how Krishna is like arranging for us. Even that small line, very narrow line of water is there, very easy to cross. What more can we expect? So the second question, you said our body is made by the 5 gross elements, and then?
How to get from material body,
material,
the problem, to the spiritual body, which is Satchidananda. How to get that, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. By the holy name, because the holy name, this is something from the spiritual world. Although it's like a material element, this is a sound, but this sound vibration is coming from the spiritual world. And Jananivas Prabhu many times mentioned, whenever we chant one Hare Krishna Mahamantra, our covering of this material covering would be 1 layer off. And also when we're chanting, this vibration can like penetrating the covering of the whole universe, reaching the spiritual world. So although our body is made by these 5 gross elements, but we can spiritualize them. Chanting is one of the direct devotional service rendered to Lord Sri Krishna, and we can also engage our body to do so many other services. So we can in this way spiritualize our body, and in that way our body is no longer material, our body has become spiritualized. So we are connected with the spiritual Vishuddha Sattva in that sense, then we can transcend this material body. Like in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned, Mamtrayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitya tam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. If we continuously perform this devotional service, we at once transform the 4 gunas of this material nature. We reach the platform of Brahman and the Brahmanas. The devotees are already above the level of Brahmanas, and we are actually transcendentally situated. In Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned when not only devotees, even an ordinary persons, when they follow the Lord's Ratha Yatra, either in the front, back, left, right, the demigods, they saw all of these people are manifesting 4-armed forms. They are saying we already got liberated forms. But how we manifest into full blossom, we need to cultivate our consciousness, complete absorption in the service of Sri Krishna. Then, to that much degree, to that proportion, we are situated on the spiritual platform. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other comments, corrections, and questions? Okay. Now we are going to perform another very blissful service, Krishna's Mahaprasadam. I won't delay anyone. Jai, Dhṛtarāṣṭra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo, Hare Krishna.